Hey guys, Justin here with S&S Archery. In today's gear video, we have a brand new sight from Spot Hogg. We saw this earlier this year down at SHOT Show. We're really excited to finally get one in so we can start showing it to you guys. But today we're going to be looking at the all new Boonie sight. All right guys, getting started in today's gear video. In front of me I have the all new Boonie sight from Spot Hogg. Like I said, we saw this down at SHOT Show early this year. Got it in our hands, checked out some of the new features. We're really impressed with what we saw. We received this one a couple days ago. I've since then been out shooting it on my bow, and honestly it might be the sight I'm shooting this year. In our opinion, this is probably going to take place to your Fast Eddie, your Fast Eddie XL. So very similar gearing, build, design. However, we have those new features. So according to Spot Hogg, this is about 10% lighter compared to your regular Fast Eddie XL models. So depending on what base option you have, I weighed this one out. It's 13.4 ounces versus 14.2 of the Fast Eddie XL. Really excited about the weight change in these. The other big thing or difference between your regular Fast Eddie or Fast Eddie XL versus the Boonie, we are able to use multiple bases within one sight. So unlike before where we had the Fast Eddie XL, that base is made on, there's no taking it off and switching to say a Pic Mount or their hard mount. The Boonie allows you to do that, so very cool. Here I have the short base, which is bridge lock compatible. Mounts up perfectly in my Matthews bow, but I can also at a later date buy a Picatinny mount. So very cool. You just have a couple screws where these dovetails or those other mounts disconnect. The new one comes on. Inside this part right here, there is some axis adjustments we'll get into in a second, but very cool that we can swap those bases. The next big change that you're going to see within the Boonie is the dial system. So we've revamped it. It's a little bit smaller of a wheel, but the whole braking system and your lock has changed. It used to be the lever on the bottom, you can see there, which would loosen up the dial system. Now we have basically an inset wheel within our actual dial. This is a true lock. So if you lock this down, this rail scope housing is not going to move. If I find myself in a situation where I might want to make a quick adjustment, whether I'm elk hunting, I can back the tension off just a little bit and still be able to dial this sight out. So you can kind of firm up the stiffness of that dial. Another thing with this dial is you can actually remove the wheel. So say you're running two different kinds of arrows, we're going to be able to buy separate wheels, so you can take that off, which is awesome. You can also, here on the inside, there is basically two screws that hold these wheels on that have a slot. I'll demonstrate this here in a bit, but you can basically fine tune or adjust the wheel. Sometimes if you don't get the sight tape installed correctly, lined up with your pointers, instead of moving your pointers, keep those two screws loose, you can actually just adjust the wheel, get it set just right, and then tighten them up. So being able to adjust that on the fly is pretty cool. Love that new design. Another thing that you're going to notice with the Boonie is the internal gearing is a little bit more protected. So unlike the regular Fast Eddie XL, you can see some of the gearing. There's always a little bit of potential for sticks or brush or something to get in there. So you can see the difference. They've kind of covered that up. Obviously there is still some, but not nearly as much. As far as the drive system on the Boonie, it's going to perform just like all the other Spot Hogg models. So very smooth. The gearing, the tolerances between the rack are cut very specific. It's not a sight where if that gear, that lock is loosened up to where I feel like it's just going to fall accidentally. There is a little bit of pressure on it. So I do like the drive system on these sights. Moving to the front of the sight. So there's quite a bit of change here. So you're going to see, first up, we have a much larger windage bar that has micro adjustment. So very happy with the new design. I feel like the actual knob that makes your adjustments is more defined. The other one, it seemed just kind of cheap in a sense. I feel like the clicks are more individually notched, so you actually feel like the sight's moving. So Very nice upgrade. You are going to notice up front too that there is a direction on which way to turn the actual sight. So that is nice. So you're not going the wrong direction when you're making those micro adjustments. So as far as that windage, we have a toolless lock up front. Then we're able to make those clicks and make the sight move right or left. So very nice addition to the Boonie. Axis adjustment up front, we have very similar to the Fast Eddie XL in the fact that we have the 2 screws, which are going to give us our lean for that 3rd axis adjustment. The quick disconnect assembly has been kind of redesigned. It's now at the bottom. We lost that 6-hole spacer, but really don't need it. So with the longer windage bar and the micro adjustment up top, we have 2 slot positions. So if you're running inline like myself, I had to flip this bracket over. If you're running on the outside of your riser, simply take this off, flip over the bracket, and reinstall your housing, and you'll be set up. So very easy to get this set up and make those big macro adjustments for your windage. Just like all the other Spot Hogg sights, all the different housings are going to work on the Boonie. So if you want to run a single pin, a double pin, the triple stack, 3-pin horizontal like this one, a 5-pin, 7-pin, they're all going to work on the Boonie. So they're kind of like with all the parts and pieces that you can use on these, they're kind of like Legos for adults. Very cool sights, and all the things and how they're built together to make these housings and everything work goes hand in hand. So very cool. As far as your pin indicators on the new Boonie, if you order a single pin housing, you're going to get 1 purple indicator. If you order the double pin housing, which is fixed pins, you're going to have a double pin that's a fixed, basically a bridge double pin. If you order the triple stack, you're going to have 3 indicators like this one here. If you order the 3-pin horizontal, the 5-pin, or the 7-pin horizontal, it's going to come with 1 indicator, but just know that you can add additional indicators to your setup. So just like this 3-pin horizontal, I'm able to run the 3 indicators, use all my pins, and have reference to all those different yardages. All right, guys, I wanted to show you one more thing on the Boonie, which has to do that 2nd axis adjustment. This is different than on the Fast Eddie or the Fast Eddie XL. Before, it was basically just these 2 screws in front of the actual rail, which leveled up our scope housing with our bow. Now we have the 2nd axis adjustment in front as well. So what this allows us to do is not only can we level up the scope housing, but we can get the rail level. It's important to do this in order. Start here, then work to the front of the sight. If my rail is kind of canted, my scope housing's level. It may be perfect at 20 yards, but as I get out to 80, 90 yards, the pins are going to drift because I'm coming down that plane, even though my pins are stacked perfectly level. So just know that. Start up front. It's the same design inside this base connection point to the actual pistol of the sight as the quick disconnect up front where that 3rd axis adapter is. So it's on that half moon shape. So as you tighten or loosen, you can make this sight pitch left and right. So like I said, we're just looking to level up the rail first. So that is pretty much how you set up the 2nd axis on the front, and then you can jump up here and set the axis of the housing next. All right, so that's pretty much a rundown on the new Spot Hogg Boonie. There's just a lot of awesome features built into it. I like the fact that it's a little bit less weight. The ability to swap bases for about $30 is very cool. The new lock for our dial system, way more convenient spot, able to set the tension, love that. The pointers, being able just to add or remove pointers made it simplistic. The windage, the micro adjustment being larger, and then the fact that you can run all the different housings on a Spot Hogg are just, I mean, that's one of the best parts about Spot Hogg. So if you guys have any questions on the all new Spot Hogg Boonie or anything we've done in the past, please feel free to give us a call, shoot us an email. We'd be glad to help. And thanks for watching.